I haven't done an effects video in a while, so let's go over the piano body dampener. So I don't really understand this effect. To me, it seems kind of like it's mimicking reverb, but I guess in the way that sounds reverberate around a piano. So I think it's mimicking the formant of a piano as well as the ringing or resonance of the piano, which again just ends up sounding like a reverb. I am not 100% sure if that's what this thing is doing, but it seems kind of likely, or at least something along those lines. So right now I have noise. It's just mono noise. See, we're all mid, no side. And then this is going to be our little spectrum analyzer. When I turn on the sound, it's going to emphasize and de-emphasize some frequencies, almost like an EQ. Well, exactly like an EQ. So you can see already that it gave the sound width, much like reverb would, and it also changed the spectrum of the mid. Let me turn it off while we're listening to it. And then the soundboard is turning up the amount of resonance, or the tail end, the amount that of time that the sound will ring out after a note off. Think of it as just like reverb time. So I'm going to turn up that. It almost sounds like a reverb depth parameter. It's almost like we're in the front, and then we're all the way in the back. Again, I'm not really 100% sure if that's a good description for what's happening, but it seems okay to me. You know what? Before I move on to the dampener, I actually just want to go over the tone controls. So we have the tone at 100. This is just a low pass filter. It works the same in no matter what scenario we're in, whether we have the depth all the way up of the soundboard or dampener. So when I turn down the tone, low pass filter. And then mid, by turning up mid, you're actually turning down the middle of the spectrum. And then tune is a parameter that I don't really understand, hardly at all. We can consult the manual, but I don't find the manual very illuminating in this regard. So it says tune. This controls the fine tuning of the resonance. Since this effect simulates the resonance of the strings, the sound varies depending on the pitch. If you have changed tuning using the master tune, then you want to adjust this parameter value. So I don't really understand that. So it says the resonance of the string varies depending on the pitch. I guess, of course, sympathetic resonance would change depending on if we're playing a low-pitch sound versus a high-pitch sound. So that makes me kind of think that this thing is sort of like a convolution reverb. Let's throw a sine through it. And let's look at the spectrum when I'm playing a low sound. Let's turn up the depth. I mean, I'm not really able to tell too much of a difference. Let's change the tuning. Of course, if I sustain it and then I move the parameter, you know, I'm really not hearing it. Maybe tune is just for the strings, and then the strings are controlled by the damper parameter. So let's move on to damper and then revisit tune. So yeah, damper apparently is like holding the sustain pedal on a piano. I'm not a professional pianist. I think that might be called the damper pedal as well. But instead of using a pedal, I'm just using the switch 1. And so when I turn on the switch 1, actually I'm going to switch back to noise. So this is without having the damper up or on. And then when I turn it on, it feels like it picks up where soundboard left off. So this at its minimum setting increases the resonance beyond what the soundboard had. So the other thing that I want to say is that this is independent of the soundboard. So if I were to turn down soundboard depth, Doesn't make any difference. But if I turn the effect off, of course, soundboard will make a difference. So anyway, now with, whoops, let's turn that back on 100. Well, it doesn't really matter. Then let's, depth is now on, my switch 1 is on, so let's increase the depth. So it feels like it increases that reverb time even more. Let me switch back to a sine wave, and let's look at the spectrum again while messing with tune. So you can hear it change. But I really don't know exactly what it's doing. Because when I change it, it seems to just settle back on what the original sound is anyway. So it's really confusing to me. Yep, tune is a mystery to me. Maybe one of you guys understand it better, but it is beyond me. I really don't know what it does. So that's pretty much everything. Yeah, most mysterious plugin. I really don't know what it does. Thank you.